The night was quiet on the border, too quiet for what was about to happen. A white pickup truck flew down a dirt road, its headlights off. Dust rose like smoke behind it. Somewhere far back, sirens wailed. Red and blue lights flashed in the dark like angry eyes. The driver did not slow down. He smiled. His name was Daniel Cruz, and this was not his first time running from the law. He had crossed this land more times than he could count. He knew every bend, every dry riverbed, every broken fence. Tonight, the federal agents were close, closer than ever before. Helicopter blades chopped the air above him. A spotlight searched the ground, sweeping left and right. Then something unexpected happened. The truck reached the edge of a dry canyon. There was no bridge, no road, just a sharp drop into darkness. Daniel did not stop. The truck launched forward. Agents screamed into their radios. The helicopter light lost him. The truck vanished into the canyon like it had been swallowed by the earth itself. And then, nothing. No crash. No fire. No body. Daniel Cruz was gone. For the agents watching from above, it was like he had disappeared into thin air. But this story did not begin that night. It began many years earlier, far from the canyon, when Daniel was just a boy who learned very early that fear was a tool and speed was survival. Daniel grew up in a dusty town near the Mexico-US border. The town was poor. The streets were cracked. Most homes had iron bars on the windows, not to keep people in, but to keep danger out. As a child, Daniel learned that the world was not kind, and it did not wait for anyone. His father was rarely home. When he spoke little. His mother worked long hours and came back tired every night. Daniel learned to take care of himself. He learned how to run errands fast, how to stay quiet, and how to listen. Listening was the most important skill. He learned which streets to avoid, which houses were dangerous, which men to stay far away from. But danger has a way of finding you anyway. When Daniel was 15, he was offered his first job. It was simple. Deliver a package. Ask no questions. Get paid in cash. He did it. Nothing bad happened. Then he did it again. And again. Each time, the jobs got bigger. The packages got heavier. The routes got longer. And the money grew. By the time Daniel turned 18, people no longer saw him as a boy. They saw him as someone reliable. Someone fast. Someone who did not panic. Someone useful. That was when the cartel noticed him. They did not start with threats. They started with praise. They told him he was smart. That he had potential. That he could be more than just a delivery runner. They offered protection. Money. A place to belong. Daniel said yes. That choice would change his life forever. Daniel became an enforcer, but not the kind people imagined. He was not loud. He did not brag. He did not seek attention. His strength was in his calm. His job was simple, make sure things went smoothly. If a deal was late, he fixed it. If someone panicked, he calmed them down. If someone talked too much, he made sure they stayed quiet. He learned how to watch people's eyes. How to tell when someone was lying. How to leave no trace. Most importantly, he learned how to move. He trained his body to run long distances. He learned to drive anything with an engine. He memorized border patrol schedules. He studied maps until he could draw them from memory. The border was not just a line to him. It was a puzzle. And Daniel was very good at solving puzzles. Soon, the cartel trusted him with bigger tasks. Cross-border movements. Sensitive cargo. Routes that others failed to complete. Each successful run made his name heavier. And with weight came attention. Not just from the cartel, but from the US federal agents watching from the other side. At first, Daniel did not know he was being watched. He felt lucky. Too lucky. Runs went perfectly. Patrols missed him by minutes. Cameras failed. Informants disappeared. But luck does not last forever. One night, while resting in a safe house, Daniel noticed something strange. A car parked too long across the street. Another one passed by twice in 10 minutes. Then a third. He did not sleep that night. The next day, A message came through his phone, short and cold. "They know you." Daniel did not ask who they were. He already knew. From that moment on, his life became a chase. Federal agents followed his money trails, his phone contacts, his known routes. They built a picture of him piece by piece. To them, he was no longer just a runner. He was a ghost they wanted to catch. Daniel changed everything. He switched vehicles often. He used burners for phones. He stopped trusting old contacts. He moved at odd hours, slept in different places, ate little, spoke less. Every step was careful. But pressure was building. The cartel needed him. The agents wanted him. And Daniel knew he was trapped between two forces that never forgave mistakes. Then came the job that changed everything. It was supposed to be simple. One cross-border movement. Quiet. Fast. Clean. Daniel felt uneasy from the start. The route was familiar, but too familiar. The timing felt wrong. The air felt heavy. Still, he went. Halfway through the run, he saw it. A drone. Small. Silent. Floating above the desert like an insect. Daniel swore under his breath. The trap was closing. Within minutes, sirens sounded in the distance. Helicopters rose. Vehicles moved to block his exits. Daniel did not panic. He accelerated. What followed was a chase that would later be described as one of the boldest border pursuits ever attempted. Daniel pushed his vehicle through terrain most drivers would not dare touch. He cut through washes, jumped ridges, and vanished into dust clouds. Agents stayed on him. 4 hours. The chase crossed miles of desert, broken fences, and abandoned roads. Radio chatter filled the air. Command centers lit up with maps and blinking dots. Daniel's dot was moving fast. Too fast. And then, just before dawn, it led them to the canyon. The same canyon where, hours later, he would disappear. But before that moment, before the jump, before the silence, Daniel made one final call. He did not call the cartel. He did not call family. He called someone the agents did not expect. And whatever was said in that call would later raise questions that no one could answer. Because minutes later, Daniel Cruz drove into the darkness and vanished. No body was found. No vehicle recovered. No clear evidence of survival. Only tire tracks leading to nothing. As the sun rose over the border that morning, one truth became clear. Daniel Cruz had outrun the feds once again. But the nation would soon learn that the story was far from over. Because when someone disappears like that, it usually means they planned it. And somewhere, Daniel was still running. For 3 days after Daniel Cruz vanished into the canyon, no one slept much on either side of the border. Federal agents searched the area again and again. They climbed down into the dry canyon. They walked for miles. They brought dogs. They used drones and cameras. They checked the riverbeds nearby. They even searched old mine tunnels that had been abandoned for decades. They found tire marks. They found broken rocks. They found nothing else. No truck. No blood. No body. Some agents believed Daniel had died in the jump. They said the canyon was too deep and the landing too rough. Others were not convinced. They had chased many criminals before, and they knew one thing very well. When someone disappears without leaving a body, the story is never simple. Daniel Cruz was officially listed as missing, presumed dead. But behind closed doors, the case stayed open. Because something did not add up. The first strange detail was the phone call Daniel made before he disappeared. Agents pulled phone records and traced the call. It was short. Less than a minute. The number he called did not belong to the cartel. It was not family. It was not anyone already on their radar. It belonged to a man named Evan Miller. Evan Miller lived a quiet life in a small town far from the border. He had no criminal record. No known connections to drugs, gangs, or smuggling. On paper, he was invisible. That made agents nervous. When they questioned Evan, he looked shocked. He said Daniel had called him by mistake. He said he did not know Daniel. But the agents noticed something small. Evan's hands were shaking. While the agents worked their case, The cartel was also reacting. Daniel Cruz had been important. He knew routes, names, codes, safe houses. His disappearance caused panic. Some feared he had been caught and would talk. Others feared he had betrayed them. Meetings were held in secret locations. Messages were sent in code. Routes were shut down. Operations paused. The cartel wanted answers. And answers usually came at a cost. Meanwhile, somewhere far from the canyon, Daniel opened his eyes. He was alive. Every part of his body hurt. His head throbbed. His chest burned when he breathed. For a moment, he could not remember where he was. Then the smell hit him. Oil. Dust. Old metal. He was underground. Daniel tried to move but felt a sharp pain shoot through his side. He groaned softly and forced himself to stay quiet. He listened. No sirens. No voices. Just silence. After a while, a faint light appeared. Footsteps echoed through the tunnel. A voice whispered, "Easy. Don't move." Daniel recognized the voice. Evan. The canyon jump had been planned. Not perfectly, but planned enough. Daniel had known the canyon well. What most people did not know was that an old storm drain ran beneath it. Years earlier, Daniel had helped move cargo through it. It was dangerous, narrow, and almost forgotten. When the truck went over the edge, it did not crash straight down. It slid. Then tipped. Then fell just enough to look fatal from above. Daniel had jumped free at the last second. Evan had been waiting below. Dragging Daniel through the tunnel had taken hours. Daniel lost consciousness more than once. But it worked. To the world above, Daniel Cruz had died. For weeks, Daniel stayed hidden. He could not move much. Evan brought food, water, and medicine. They spoke little. Every sound made them tense. Daniel slowly healed. But his mind never rested. He knew he could not go back to his old life. The cartel would never trust him again. The agents would never stop hunting him. His name was burned on both sides. Daniel needed to become someone else. While Daniel hid, the investigation grew. Agents dug deeper into Evan Miller's past. They found something interesting. Years earlier, Evan had served in the military as an engineer. He specialized in underground structures, tunnels, drains, old infrastructure. Suddenly, the canyon made sense. They brought Evan in again. This time, he asked for a lawyer. That was all the confirmation the agents needed. Daniel Cruz was alive. The pressure closed in fast. Evan's bank accounts were watched. His phone was tapped. Agents followed him quietly. They waited. Daniel sensed it before Evan said anything. "You need to leave," Evan whispered one night. "They're close." Daniel nodded. He had known this moment would come. Before dawn, Daniel disappeared again, this time on foot. No vehicle. No phone. Just the clothes on his back and a new name in his head. But leaving did not mean freedom. The cartel had finally reached a conclusion. Daniel Cruz was alive. And worse, they believed he had run on his own. That made him a traitor. Orders were sent out. Find him. Anywhere. By the end of the month, whispers of a mysterious man moving through small towns began to spread. A man who paid cash. A man who stayed one night and vanished by morning. A man who never gave his real name. Daniel Cruz was running again. Only this time, he was not just outrunning the feds. He was running from an empire he once helped build. And the next move, one decision, would decide whether he survived or disappeared for good. Daniel Cruz knew one hard truth as he walked alone through the desert road at sunrise. Running never ends by itself. It only ends when someone catches you, or when you choose to stop. Daniel crossed into a small border town using a name that was not his. He wore old clothes and kept his head down. He worked small jobs for cash. Carrying boxes. Fixing fences. Cleaning yards. Nothing that left a trail. At night, he slept lightly. Every sound felt loud. Every car slowed his heart. He changed places often. One night in a town. One night in a motel. Sometimes under the open sky. He never stayed long enough to be remembered. But the world he ran from was still moving. Federal agents had confirmed it. Daniel Cruz was alive. They reopened the case fully. His photo went back on walls. Old contacts were questioned again. Border crossings were watched more closely. Agents shared his story with other states. But there was a problem. Daniel had learned their methods. He avoided phones. Avoided cameras. Avoided patterns. Every time they got close, he slipped away. The cartel moved faster. They did not need warrants or paperwork. They followed rumors. They followed fear. They paid for information. Someone always talks. A man matching Daniel's description was seen buying food with cash. A man asking for work with a slight limp. A man who looked over his shoulder too often. The cartel began closing in. Daniel felt it. One evening, while sitting in a quiet diner, he noticed something small. The room went quiet. Not silent, but different. The waitress stopped smiling. Two men at the counter stopped talking. Daniel stood slowly and walked out the back door. He did not look back. That night, he did not sleep. Days later, Daniel made a choice he had avoided for months. He contacted the feds. Not directly. He left a message. A short one. No name. Just a time and a place. The meeting happened in an empty parking lot under the hot sun. Daniel stayed in the open. No place to hide. No shadows. Agents arrived carefully. Hands visible. Voices calm. Daniel did not run. He raised his hands. "I'm done," he said. Daniel told them everything. Routes. Names. Drop points. Codes. Meetings. He spoke slowly and clearly. He did not ask for promises. He did not ask for deals. He only asked one thing. Protection for Evan. The agents agreed. Because what Daniel gave them was big. Very big. The fallout was massive. Arrests happened quietly. Routes collapsed. Money stopped flowing. The cartel did not fall overnight, but it cracked. Daniel Cruz had become the thing he never planned to be. A liability. But freedom did not come easily. Daniel entered witness protection. New name. New face. New life. No contact with the past. No looking back. He was moved far from the border. Far from deserts and canyons. Far from everything he once knew. Some nights, he still woke up sweating. Still listening. Still running in his dreams. Years later, people still whispered about him. Some said he escaped forever. Some said he betrayed everyone. Some said he was already dead. The truth was quieter. Daniel Cruz did not outrun the feds. He did not outrun the cartel. He outran the life that was killing him. And he vanished not into shadows, but into silence. A silence he would live with. For the rest of his life.